Personnel files. Who knew? You should have a minimum of 3 personnel files. Now, if you're like me, small office, everything's in one drawer, I'm the only one with access to it, you probably throw everything in one file. Not a good idea. Even with my small company, Department of Labor could come in and they could ask to see my personnel files. So, technically, the 3 files you should have. You should have your primary personnel file. That's the one that has anything and everything to do with the individual and their job. For example, their application or resume. You may want to include any emergency contact information. Performance evaluation should go in the primary personnel file. So anything related to that job. And here's why you want to have that in one file. If you're in an environment where there are multiple supervisors and a lot of people that may need access to a personnel file, the only thing you want to provide them while they are with you, do not just give it to them, but while they are with you, the only thing you want them to be able to see are any documents that have to do with that individual's ability to do the job. Which leads to the second file that you need to have, which I call the super secret red file. That would be your medical file, or the file that has anything to do with personal health information. That's going to include any of your enrollment forms, including enrollment in your profit sharing or pension or 401k plan, because that information is going to have their social security number and their date of birth. Also, if you require doctor's notes for return to work, that should be kept in the super secret file. I call it red because that's the color folder that we use for our clients. It doesn't need to be red. It just needs to be separate from that primary personnel file. And then last, you should have a notebook that is separate from both of those files that contains all of your current I-9 forms. And you may recall the I-9 form is the document that's required by Immigration Control and Enforcement that proves that your employees are eligible to work in the United States. So the reason you want to keep those documents separate, we just keep a 3-ring binder with all of the I-9s. The reason you want to keep that separate is if Immigration Control and Enforcement would ever knock on your door and tell you they want to look at your I-9s, I don't want you to have to leaf through 25 personnel files pulling them all out. I want you to be able to go to Immigration Control and Enforcement and hand them a very nice 3-ring binder, alphabetized, with all of your current I-9 documents in it. Makes their job a lot easier, and it saves your time, effort, and energy. Now, the super secret red file with the personal health information and the I-9 file, which also has Social Security and date of birth on, those should be kept separate from your supervisors. There really is no reason that your supervisors would need to review those documents when they're making decisions about your employees. So the 3 files you want to have: your primary personnel file, which has anything and everything to do with the job and the individual performing the job; the super secret red file, or the private file, which has medical and personal health information in it; and then a binder with your I-9s. Now, if you have truck drivers, and be careful here because your truck drivers can actually be anybody that operates a vehicle for commercial purposes, and the vehicle or any attachments like a trailer exceed 10,001 pounds. You need a 4th personnel file then, called a Department of Transportation driver qualification file. So if you ever do have any questions about your personnel files, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach me at Karen@hrresolutions.com, and we'd be more than glad to help you out. So remember, at least 3 separate personnel files.